From the KBIA Newsroom in Columbia, I'm Amina Jenkins. Columbia's Love Your Block grant program is back for a second year, awarding 10 grants to local community outreach and city beautification projects. As KBIA's Isaiah Penzino reports, this year's projects are reaching more of the city than last year.
The Volunteer Service Group for Columbia is receiving a grant for a cleanup project in Hanover, a northeast Columbia neighborhood. It's just one of the multiple projects focusing on communities that weren't reached by last year's grants. Program organizer Lee Kotwitz says some of this year's grants aim to fund projects in areas outside of the central city that could use resources and support.
These are areas that the city at least has not had money to give to those neighborhood projects. And one of the great things about Love Your Block is that it has allowed resources and also staff support to help make these projects happen.
The program will not receive funding from the Bloomberg Center for Public Innovation next year. I'm Isaiah Penzino, KBIA News.
The Missouri Senate has passed its version of a proposed constitutional amendment that begins the process of eliminating the income tax. Senators voted 18-11 early this morning to pass the House resolution. Because they made changes to the legislation, it must go back to the House. If passed by voters, the resolution would give lawmakers the ability to modify sales and use taxes, including raising them, to eventually eliminate the income tax. The elimination of income tax is a priority for Governor Mike Kehoe. Starting next year, many of the adults who receive benefits from Medicaid, the government-sponsored health care coverage program for low-income and disabled people, will need to prove they're working or looking for a job. As Sarah Fenton reports, data shows most of the state's eligible adult Medicaid recipients are already working.
Researchers at Washington University studied census data and found 2/3 of recipients 19 to 64 years old who would be held to the work requirement held full-time or part-time jobs. WashU professor Tim McBride is one of the paper's authors. He says the requirements entail a lot of work to reach a relatively small share of recipients.
It seems like a lot of staffing and a lot of dollars to be spent on 40,000 people, in my opinion. It's putting the cart before the horse in a way.
Others cited disability, illness, caregiving, and retirement as reasons they didn't work. Only about 12% reported they were not working, quote, due to other reasons. The work requirement was included in last year's federal spending bill. I'm Sarah Fenton.
Missouri's 29 abandoned landfills could receive $1 million for cleanup under a new bill. According to experts, abandoned sites can be more difficult to handle because they don't have a person legally liable to take care of the land. Republican Senator Ben Brown of Washington is sponsoring the bill. He says giving the Missouri Department of Natural Resources more oversight in the restoration process will solve the problem.
And in those cases right now, technically the department's hands are tied. This would untie them.
The bill also says if land is known to be contaminated, it must be disclosed before the land is sold. I'm Amina Jenkins, KBIA News, Columbia.